small group session, things like that. But once every 4 months, I do a session just specifically on presenting the team. And we had, I think, 94 registrants last night and 47 showed up. And I've got already eight follow-up calls lined up today. I mean, one person's already signed up. Another one, I mean, so far, everybody I've spoken to is signing up. And I've got a whole list of people that were on that I knew that didn't, ask to call me or anything like that. So I'm going to call them. That's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, another 16 there. So definitely worth it to do that kind of stuff. It creates scarcity, urgency. And people are already on a team will be on, and they'll chime in and type things in and build up some excitement. So it's a good practice. I don't do it I only do it every 4 months because I want it to be special, and build up anticipation and things like that. So, but I think today we talking more about like production or.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I mean, just definitely a little bit about yourself and what you've been able to do to help agents to work with investors, and then at the same time transition themselves into investors as well. But before we kind of get started, I mean, I know we got a couple of people just kind of jumping on. Let's start, always with like some good news. This is our first mastermind of the year, so I know we got some awesome agents out there. So anybody got some good news, anything that's going on? And I'm not seeing enough cameras too, so we like to see people here.
Yeah. So far, everybody looks really pretty,
Absolutely. So who got some good news they want to share?
Hey, I'm just driving. I just want to say, hey, Gary, how you guys doing? And I'm logged in. Can't wait for the call. It's Leon.
Appreciate it, Leon. Leon's been on fire. He's been reaching out to me a few times on some different things that he's working on. I saw some of the stuff that you did this morning with you and your wife, man. So congrats on that stuff. Anybody else with some good news? What's up, Annie?
Hey, how's it going? I'm excited to be here.
We're excited to have you.
Thank you.
So I don't want to put you on the spot, but I am.
Okay. Let's do this.
So you go ahead and talk about your good news. I know Craig's been killing it out there, and he's, y'all got some things going on. So what's going on with you all over there?
So I'm officially self-employed or a member of the team now as of the end of the year, and jumping off, and Craig's teaching me everything he can, and trying to build our team as well as get me up and going. I'm learning so much. I'm super excited and ready to go.
Awesome. So for you all that don't know, me kind of do a backstory on it. Craig actually, somebody to kind of connect with us and, started, increasing and building his business. Him and his lovely wife, Annie, went to Cabo on one of our masterminds there, came back, they had a whole new plan, yada, 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 as they do on Seinfeld. And Annie's quit her job and now she's full-time in real estate.
Yes, I am. A little bit scary and a whole lot of exciting.
Awesome. Anybody else with some good news? All right, we don't have we got agents that like to talk here, yeah. So let's.
So hey, Andre, James.
I see 50% of the.
So one of my new agents is getting her first, just came on board last week, and she's getting her first listing next week. So really cool news for her, but she's not on here.
Well, that's great, man. So the team you're building is already starting to work for you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Anybody else here with some good news? Still got some people kind of logging on.
All right. I'll speak up. And the only reason I'm doing it is because it's so damn hard for me to do. So I'm going to just do it anyways. But a newer agent, working with Daniel Rosato. Things are working out great with Daniel and I. Thank you, Andre, and hello. And, I'm really making the move from another business into this one, and have a couple of really great prospects right now. And that's my good news. So.
Love it, man. Love it. Welcome aboard, Alan. All right, let's go.
I'll go.
What's up, Sharon?
Hey there. So I won 2 bids for clients, which is super exciting in this time of crazy bidding wars where it's really hard to win bids. So I won one. We closed last week, and then the other one is scheduled to close the week after next. And the way we won it is we didn't have any contingencies or any due diligence period. But my clients are, they won the bid. They're super, super happy. So it's unfortunately kind of the way you have to win bids.
Yep, absolutely.
And also today I'm going to present the iBuyer, the express offers program to a client with an unlisted property. So hopefully that goes well and I can find an iBuyer for her.
Fingers crossed. We'll definitely get it done. So for 2 things there. One was pretty good nuggets was that the removing contingencies gets offers accepted. The buyer got to be on point, be willing to play ball. But in this particular market, you just kind of do that. You got to talk to the lender and make sure that they're okay with no contingencies. A lot of lenders nowadays are like taking that approval all the way. And then the other thing is the iBuyer program. If you're able to get a program where you're able to position yourself as being able to present offers, then you get in front of sellers, and sellers equals buyers. So congrats on that, Sharon.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else with some good news? Got a couple more here. All right. Andre, I see you talking.
Okay. Yeah, I just said I'll speak up and just say I'm excited to see so many of my business partners on here from all across the country for jumping in to listen to Gary and what he's going to be bringing today about investors and investments. And because he's, I'm sure James, you're going to give Gary a little bit of his backstory of because he's so humble. He's probably not going to share half of what he's done with the thousands of properties that he's purchased and did with investments on the sales and all the people that he's done. But I know he's a multi-millionaire, and I'm pretty excited to be on the call with him, and he's part of my partnership as well. But my good news, I'm this close. I should hear back by next week, but I got a small independent brokerage in Alaska coming on. So where that, I think that'll bring us in 28 states with a lot of Gary's help and a lot of other guys. So just excited about that.
Awesome, Andre. Man, that is good news. And Gary is a humble guy. So I'm gonna give him a welcome, a really good welcome in here. So
Thanks, James. Good to see you too. Andre, good to see you and see everybody. So
yeah.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. All right. So I'll take one more good news. One more. See one last person want to jump in here and share what great things is happening.
Okay, so I have one. I've been sitting. So I had a deal that was supposed to close yesterday. And on Monday, it fell through. The buyer could not apparently qualify. And we buying another house. So what happened is I put it back on the market Tuesday, Wednesday, and we had 6 offers, including 3 cash. And we accepted a cash offer that can close in 7 days. It's closed. We have to close. And the only reason how I solved that problem, because the seller was pissed. He was an awful person from the beginning, right? Since December. Awful. So he wanted to decide that he was staying in his house. And honestly, the only, what do you call it, Hail Mary, whatever, was that I remember that I have a unilateral extension. And I sent it in yesterday because this cash seller the attorneys had everything in title and they have everything already because we were supposed to close on Thursday. That will save the day. So that for me, for my client, I mean, we are so happy that we were able to get a buyer cash that can close in 7 days.
Awesome. Congrats, Jennifer. That is great news. And I'm glad you thought about that to keep that deal flowing. So at the last minute. All right, everybody. So I mean, like I said, it's the first of the year. A big thing is just kind of and everything out. And you know, I was thinking about who can I bring in starting out, be able to really kind of, you know, set everything off for everybody. And I just thought about Gary. You know, Gary is a you know, self-made man. We're very humble, like Andre was before. And you know, he started out, you know, investing in real estate and was able to get things going. You know, became a millionaire in that aspect of it. But more importantly, what he was doing is really just kind of giving back and teaching other agents how to work with investors and also how they themselves can actually invest in real estate as well. You know, a big part of our business is just kind of, you know, being able to have an exit strategy. You know, I know we have that here within our group that we do, but at the same time, you know, investing in real estate, there's no better way to build wealth. So without further ado, man, I really appreciate it. You know, what I consider a friend of mine. You know, we got together in DC. We talked before, but we actually met in DC on one of those influencer meetings. And, you know, we sat down and had lunch. It really was just, you know, kind of picking his brain and, you know, imparting to me. So, I mean, I'm just happy to have here somebody that's going to be able to deliver and bring the fire and add value to our group, man. Gary Wilson, man, you got it.
Hey, thanks, James. I appreciate the introduction. And thanks, guys, for lending me your ear for a little bit. And I'm going to try to give you some really good stuff you can actually use today. It was interesting, guys. You know, when I hear people talk about me, it's you know, it is humbling. It's like I want to pinch myself. And you know, the results I've had at EXP are, you know, pretty exceptional, I will admit. But it really, it's really not just me. I mean, Lord knows I had all kinds of help getting to where I am. And so what looks like an overnight success has really been going on for, you know, since my first property in January 1986. My college roommate, freshman year, name was Socrates. His parents were Greek. His dad was a Greek immigrant. In fact, his mom was born here in the States, but, you know, 100% Greek family. Her parents sent her to Greece when she graduated high school to spend the summer there and spend time with the family, you know, aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, and all that. Well, guess what she came back with? Mr. Demet. His Greek name was a lot longer than that, but he came into the States, put himself through MIT, didn't speak a lick of English, and eventually moved to Richmond, Virginia, and was working at Fort Lee as an engineer, started investing in real estate. So Shock and I went to school at Old Dominion and hit it off. And when we graduated, we were going to go rent, like on the beach. We're going to, you know, live the life. And his dad said, "Don't be stupid. You're not going to rent. You're going to buy, and you're going to buy something that's going to make you some money." Of course, I grew up in a family where buying a house was a big deal. I mean, my mom was afraid for me to buy a house, you know. So I was on school lunch programs, Goodwill clothes. I mean, I was the least likely, you know, candidate for somebody to be doing this. But bottom line is, he helped us buy that first house. It was a 4-bedroom rancher with 2 bathrooms. And we assumed the owner's mortgage. It was a VA mortgage, and you can still do that today. Okay. People have been saying for decades, you can't assume mortgages anymore. That's not true. You can assume VA mortgages, and a lot of variable rate mortgages are also still assumable. Okay. You just have to ask the questions. So we assumed his first mortgage. He had a second that we refinanced. The Sox dad had that co-signed for. He didn't give us any money, by the way. He just showed us what to do. And then we had a third mortgage for the remaining equity. So we had 3 mortgages to buy the property, and we still cash flowed because we rented out the other 2 rooms to 2 other guys. Their rent covered our debt service. And you know, that's what started the whole thing. That was my break, guys. Because if it wasn't for that, I'd probably still be schlepping it out in the corporate world. I still got a corporate job. But years later, what happened is, well, by the way, I should tell you this. So we're at the closing table. This is January 20th, 1986. I've just turned 23. And we go to Mr. DeMett's, one of his beach houses down at the Outer Banks in North Carolina called Nag's Head. And we're on the deck and he's pounding his chest. He's saying, if you boys do what I tell you to do, you won't have to work for anybody else when you're 35 years old. Of course, we were 22 and 23. Guess what we did? We bought a boat, and then we bought a old VW van, you know, the pop-up type to tow the boat. And then his dad, for the second time, told us we were stupid. So we did everything except what he told us to do. And I ended up getting married, and I moved away from the beach. Socrates bought me out. This was 2 years later, so I had a total of maybe $3,000 into the whole thing. That was it, and I got 8,000 out. And then I got married, had kids, and 10 years go by. Dying. I mean, in the corporate world, has anybody been in the corporate world? You go to an office every day, and I mean, like, you know, the picture of the skeleton with the cobwebs, that was me. And I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was, you know, was living away from the ocean. That's all I've ever known, and living in a cold place called Pittsburgh. But I tell you what, it was a great place to invest in real estate. So 10 years later, at 35 years old, that's what I started doing. And by the time I was 40, I had enough income coming in, enough properties, I was able to leave the corporate job. And I'm telling you, it didn't take a lot. I mean, this may sound like a lot, but I had a total of about $50,000 into my properties. But I had, you know, I don't know how many properties, but probably 40, 45 units at that point. And when I left, it was scary. I mean, I'm telling you, I had moved up the corporate ladder, had big 401k, 5 weeks vacation, 2 kids, right? And my in-laws thought I was, for the third time I heard I was stupid. You're going to leave all this and go do what? You're going to be a real estate investor? Are you crazy? And it took 18 months later, I walked into the office, said, guys, I'm leaving. You know, I can't take this anymore. I'm leaving in 3 weeks. What had happened is the bank, I did mergers and acquisitions, and they had the biggest layoff in the company's history the prior Christmas, the week of Christmas. Tuesday night, they call us in and announce this layoff, and we had to deliver the message the next morning, right? All these people. And then Christmas was Friday. It was horrible. So I told my boss, I said, I'm going to be leaving here one day. I don't know when. I'm going to do what I got to do because it's my job, but this is wrong. And took a year and a half later for me to have the guts to do it, but I finally left. And, the rest they say is history. Started buying properties. Well, here's what's important to you. I can teach you all this stuff if you want, but I will tell you, building a business around yourself with your license is just as profitable, if not more profitable. I got a license in January 2002 and started teaching with one of those guru guys, you know, the infomercial type people. He heard about me and called me up and said, would you be on my radio program? And I said, sure, I'd be happy to. And that gave him he told me that he sold more programs because he made on the radio with him. And I started teaching on like a Saturday a month, totally for free, just going in because it was fun. And I'd have lunch with these people and they'd pick my brain. And then they found out I had my license and they kept asking me, can you be my realtor? And I said, no, I don't do that. I got my license to be investing in real estate. I have no interest in opening doors and pointing out the pretty carpet and all that kind of stuff. Well, after about 100 times, I'm thinking, well, maybe God's trying to tell me something. So I finally started saying yes. And I learned a really good lesson in marketing. I didn't know anything about marketing. My background was computers and stuff like that. So here's something to write down. It's crazy because I just stumbled across it. So I walk into class, there's 25 people there. And I said, look, I can probably take 2 of you on. I've got enough time. I'll take 2 of you on. Well, what happens when you tell a group of 25 people that only 2 of them could do the thing they all want to do? What do you think happened? They all wanted to be the 2, and I'm thinking, boy, this could be good. So I started taking all those folks out buying properties, and this is really important. I want some of you guys to take this to heart and do this too, because the economy is going to be changing here, and I think probably sooner than later. I think it's already happening. I'm not a negative person. Believe me, I'm as positive you can possibly get, but I'm also a realist, and I know that you can only squeeze the American public so much. You know, you go printing money like they were printing, both parties, I'm not getting political, they both did it. You print money with no backing, it's going to create inflation. That's exactly what happened. Then you tie in the supply chain problems, you know, it's no wonder we're in a position we're in. So my suggestion is don't wait to prepare for this. Be prepared now, right? Build these relationships now, because when the poop hits the fan, you're going to see half the agents leave. That's what happened last time. Yeah, half the agents, poof, were gone. The reason we stuck around was we already had those investor relationships, and we grew sixfold in the first 3 years of the last recession. Everybody was trying to buy us. Coldwell Banker, Remax, everybody was trying to buy us. But in any case, back to what I was saying before, I didn't want to be a traditional realtor. So I didn't want to go out at night. I didn't want to go do Sunday open houses. I didn't want to any of that stuff. So what I did was I would send an email every Wednesday. This was the part you want to start writing down. Send an email every Wednesday to the people that want to work with me. And I'll say, here's my schedule for next week. You know, Monday morning, Tuesday afternoon. I give them one night a week and every other Saturday morning. That was my compromise. I never had a problem filling up a slot. And then I would, you know, interview, you know, I already had interviewed them, screened them. I knew how much money they had. I knew what their credit score was. And I knew if they had here's the 3 questions I asked, by the way. You know, build rapport, of course, first. But when you're taking on an investor, make sure you're taking on an investor that actually has money, okay? If you don't, and you start taking all these people, no money down and wholesaling, all that stuff, it's gonna suck, okay? And I'm not opposed to wholesaling. I did it myself. But as a realtor, you know, you got to work with people with money to make money, right? So in any case, I would ask them, what do you have in savings? Do you know what your credit score is? And do you have an available line of credit? Now, what's really important about that third question, if somebody has an available line of credit, meaning there's funds available on the line of credit, what does that tell you about that person? Just try it out. You unmute yourself. Let's make this interactive. I'm a teacher. So I'll count down to 1, 3, 2, 1, and I'll call on somebody. So Ann Nash, I'm going to call on you, okay?
With an available line of credit, they might have the ability to move faster than some others.
Absolutely. You know they can move fast. You know that some bank somewhere thought enough of them to give them a line of credit. That means they're credit worthy. And number 3 is they're disciplined enough to not spend it all on cars, boats, and planes. You know what I'm saying? So I learned, and this was all stuff I just learned from just trying it. I didn't read a book. I didn't take a course. I just tried the stuff. And the other thing too is because of the way I set up my scheduling, I was the bus driver. And my clients, the prospects, I knew through interviewing what seat on the bus to put them in. So the people that had the money move up front. The people that I needed to work with, they get them some money, move in the back. And on the left side was the flippers, on the right side was the landlords, right? I'm just being metaphorical here, but the point is I want you to be the bus driver. Don't let the clients dictate your schedule. You know, you'll end up just like 99% of other agents, you know, hating life and grumbling, and they got out at night and miss the kids doing homework and go out on Sundays and miss the neighborhood birthday party. Just do a quick thing. How many of you have done that before? In the beginning, I did, because I listened to my broker. You got to do open houses. You got to go show properties tonight. And I'm missing stuff. And I hated it, you know? So with the investors, what I found out is I can determine when we go out. And most of them were business owners anyways. And they were okay with that. Dentists in some parts of the country will always take Wednesday afternoon off, right? And I'd learned that, said, okay, dentists, you get Wednesday afternoon. And once I knew when they were committed, then I want to go find the properties and send them to them for them to look at the properties. I will give them the tools, calculators, and spreadsheets. If you guys are interested, I have all that stuff on my website, and you can log in on the members area for free for 30 days and get analysis sheets, calculators, all kinds of stuff. And you know, just consider it a late Christmas, but just go in there and grab all the stuff you can get for free if you want. Go to realestatewithgarywilson.com. Up top, you'll see a members area. Just click on it. If you're a member, you go to the left. If you're not a member, you go to the right. Go in for 30 days for free. We got like 300 videos, guys, on everything from 1031 exchange to everything in real estate. Multiple websites we use for research, 20 different marketing campaigns. And, you know, this may sound like this is too good to be true, but I'm telling you, it's out there. And I mean, Andre and James know me. We give this stuff away, particularly to you. We're all on the same line here. You know, we were in the same family. So I don't mind at all sharing the knowledge and spreading the wealth. So in any case, give that stuff to your clients. That's what I did. So I didn't do the analysis. They did the analysis. Now, I didn't go out there and look at properties until I looked at their analysis to make sure they didn't miss anything. By the way, we do teach this. If this is completely, you're feeling like, hey, Gary, this is way above me, don't worry about it. I didn't start off with this knowledge either. I had to learn it, right? So I recommend get yourself some of the books on there. There's 5 books you can get for free: flipping, wholesaling, being a landlord, all kinds of stuff. Learn the language, learn the methodologies. That way you can speak to these folks intelligently. And that's how you earn loyalty. The reason why so many agents complain about complain about investors is they don't speak the language. The investors don't speak your language, and then you don't speak their language. No wonder it doesn't work. So learn the language and you'll earn their trust and respect. I never had a problem with investors going elsewhere. They never, I've had agents try to steal them away. And the investor would say something like, well, where's your calculators and spreadsheets? And what do you think those agents would say? What calculators and spreadsheets? You know? So in any case, what that resulted in is I wasn't out there looking at hundreds of properties to get one deal. We looked at an average of 6 properties for every closing. That was our numbers, okay? You'll probably hear somewhere, some interview or some podcast, I did 110 transactions my first year, and I did, but I did not have 110 clients. I had 26 clients. They just, on average, bought or sold 4 properties. Some of them did 10, some did 1, but the average was 4. And because my system, my brain works in systems, I kept a physical file of everything, right? And I had a computer file of everything, and the two matched. So when Alan De Silva calls up and says, hey, I want to flip another house, I just pull up Alan's last flip, change the address, change the seller's name, change the amount, resubmit it electronically. And that's how we did it. It was a factory line, you know? So let me do a quick pause here. I know I'm getting excited. I'm probably going way too fast. Raise your hand if this is so far, I'm doing a good enough job of where it's making sense to you. Okay. If it's not, guys, now's the time to ask questions, you know? I'm trying to keep it to the basic stuff here, but what I would encourage you to do is take this to heart and don't wait for the other shoe to drop on this economy. It's a mathematical certainty. It's going to happen. We all know it's going to happen. It's not like if it's going to happen. It's when it's going to happen. And, you know, I was lucky the first time around because we already had this in place when the recession hit. People thought I was some kind of a genius. I'm like, no, this is just a model I've got. You know, when before the recession, you know, I was doing pretty good. But when the recession hit, we just skyrocketed. It was almost insane. I mean, you know, 3,000 transactions, eventually 5,000 transactions. And, you know, a lot of my agents went on to invest themselves. So I'm going to get to this part here and then I'll stop and take questions. I met so many agents who were working well into their 60s and 70s. I had one student that started when he was 84 years old with me teaching him, 84 years old. He worked another 4 years before he finally retired. And nicest guy you could ever meet. And he was a quick learner, but you know, I got to know him and he would tell me things like, you know, I wish I could spend time with my grandkids. And he said the one thing he regretted is that he didn't start investing early on, at least in his 50s, you know. Here he was in his 80s. And I just made this commitment that, you know, the team that I was building at the time, I had a brokerage and eventually merged that and built a team, that everybody on my team would be in a position to invest themselves financially, intellectually, right? And having the confidence to do it, confidence based on experience, financial strength, academic strength, things like that. Because it was heartbreaking to watch this guy, 88 years old, finally retiring. I know some of you here probably have started to worry about that. You might be 50s or 60s and thinking, when does this train stop? Well, it won't stop unless you do something about it. Okay. So you got revenue share. I'm assuming, James, is everybody here EXP? We got any guests, non-EXP guests?
We got a few people that are not with EXP.
Okay.
They're
Right.
just kind of learning from, what we're doing.
Okay. Well, I'm going to, I promise you this, guys, Andrew and Renee, I'm not here to preach EXP to you. I know they approached me for 4 years. I know what it's like. Different agents all over the country calling me up, and they kept pushing revenue share on me. And I'm like, guys, it's not working. You're not speaking my language. I'm a production person. I want to produce. I want my team to produce. And finally, enough people went over that I knew I did have an advantage because I knew people like Andre and Brent Gove and Gene Frederick. I knew these guys, and I was able to call them up and have conversations with them and get their inside details, not just revenue share, but systems, operations. How does this machine work? Why is it good for me to do this? And I'll tell you briefly, the big why is this: Renee and Andrew and everybody here that's not EXP. I've taught agents in probably every company that there is, Remax, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Berkshire Hathaway, Exit Realty, KW, and all those companies follow what we call the old traditional model. Okay, it's an old chassis, it's an old framework, which results in a lot of overhead. Okay, it's not a very efficient model. Okay, what EXP does is they've centralized operations so that EXP, the corporation, acts as broker of record for all of us. They paved the way. We don't have to worry about operations. We don't have to worry about management. We don't even have to worry about liability other than our own, right? I'm not responsible for anybody's liability on my team. EXP is, okay? And the individual agents. What that means is we're able to be in production more of the time, doing the things we need to do to generate revenue. I know it sounds different. I mean, it was for me, but I'm telling you that model. So here's a misnomer. People will tell you, hey, it's an online company, virtual company, blah, 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 blah. That's what I thought too. Not so. Operations was taken online and centralized. Service, what you and I do out in the field, we still do that. That has not changed. And the level of support is far more. I mean, I continue to be blown away. I can go up to corporate and go into the world and in 60 seconds get an answer. I can go to my upline. On my team, we have multiple coaches. There's at least 3 levels of support on any day where you can solve any problem, any question. So anyways, back to what I was saying a moment ago, back to the class here. I couldn't do this at the other companies. Believe me, I'm not going to name any companies, but I did a merger with one years ago, and probably the biggest one. I was there for 8 years. I approached them with this concept of a national team, a team of agents in all these states, 27, 28 states now. We work together as a network because our investors do not only invest in Atlanta or Houston, they invest in multiple locations. And I knew that because I'm an investor myself. And I thought, how can I capitalize on that? How can I help my agents get more commissions from their clients wherever they're investing? And EXP's framework allows me to do that. I don't have to pay every office. I don't have to pay every region, which is what you have to do with the other companies. I don't have to pay anybody else. For my little teeny split, I get to expand as far as wide as I want. And you might be thinking, well, Gary, I just want to operate in Orlando. Well, that's fine. You can operate in Orlando, but if you have your clients coming from New York and Missouri and Illinois and Ohio and Michigan and all these cold northern places, you can now serve them in all those places directly. You don't have to hand out those referrals blindly, right? You can just go within the network and do co-brokes. You do co-brokerages with them and then share in the transaction. You don't have to just take a referral fee. That's what's possible. That's what I want to emphasize to you guys about this framework. So back to the team and the class, As a result of that, we've been able to set up investor clubs in 32 locations around the country, all network together to take advantage of the fact that we have agents in those areas. The agents run the agents run the clubs themselves. I provide the network, but like, let's say Ann, where are you from, by the way?
I'm in Greenville, South Carolina.
Hot diggity dog. Go to 27 Rock Creek Drive. That's where my grandparents lived.
Okay.
That house has been flipped at least twice since I was out of college. The first flipping show ever started off in Greenville. Do you know that?
I did not. That's good tidbit to know.
So we went to the First Presbyterian Church down on the other end of Augusta Boulevard. And I took my mom to her 60th high school reunion in 2016. That's 6 years ago now. Went to the old original Greenville High and had the best time. And I'll tell you a funny story. So talk about humble. So Andre and James were telling me I'm humble. And I really do live that persona, just how I was brought up. So after the reunion, I went to dinner. I took my mom to dinner with her 12 other friends because they all had to get together after the reunion. And at the time I was traveling all over, literally, every day, every week, different hotel, different town, just traveling and teaching 24,000 people in 5 years. So I hear one of the ladies asking my mom, where do I live? My mom leans over and she says, he lives in his car. I'm like, Mom, I don't live in my car. So, by the way, I got a proposal to get married that night too. One of her friends, I said, they're asking me, when am I going to settle down? I said, the first woman that makes me a homemade apple pie, I'm going to marry her on the spot, and that's where I live. So right away, she says, I make really good homemade apple pie. Will you marry me? So in any case, funny experience, but Greenville is an excellent place. Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Clemson, little town called Belton. Go check out Belton sometime, Yep. Great place to be. So I know it don't sound like I'm from there because I moved away when I was a kid. But in any case, and I'm hoping this stuff is helping you guys. The point is this is we're out there helping other people buy and sell properties. About 30% of them across the country, in some areas more than 40%, some areas as much as 80% are investor-owned properties, right? West Hollywood, 82% rentals, okay? California, the entire state is like 44% rentals now. Wherever people live, you have investment opportunities because wherever people live, they have houses to buy and sell, and you can flip them. Yet there's a percentage of renters, which is nationally about 38% right now. It's climbing, okay? So you can participate in that part of the market. What the point is learn from working with the investors, get out there in the field and be intentional and immerse yourself in the business so you learn about it so that when the time comes, you can participate, okay? And not only that, you earn more commissions. I mean, we probably average, I think I probably told you this, but let's do a quick quiz here. Most agents get an average of 1.1 commissions per client. In other words, 1 out of 10 people give you a referral, right? Some will give you more, some will give you less. What would you say is the average number of commissions that an investor agent earns per client? Just shout it out or raise your hand. 3,
6.
Actually, yeah, I wish it was 6, a little bit more than 4, okay? Now, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So for example, I had one client buy 41 properties with me. He was an engineer and several of them bought 20 or more. Most of them just bought 1 or 2, but the average was much higher. I don't know about you, but it takes time, energy, and money to earn the business. We have to canvas and prospect and market and advertise to bring people to us. Then we got to convert them, and then and only then can we serve them and earn a commission. So let's say that all that lead up time is half your time. Is it a better deal to get 1 commission for all that time or to get 4 commissions for all that time? Way better, Now I will tell you, I've taught over 1,000 classes and over 24,000 people. And the most common objection is, man, those investors drive me crazy. They're not loyal. They make all these crazy offers, no money down, and they want to, the owner to finance. They want their Uncle Tom left them inheritance, whatever. You can actually determine the people you work with. And I'm going to give you some top groups of people, okay? In my experience, here's who I determined were the best investor clients. Top of the heap was probably dentists. Dentists are business people. They understand money, income, expense, profit and loss. They make awesome investors. And they understand business. They know what you're doing is valuable to them. They will respect you more, okay? Engineers, awesome. You know, there's 452 types of engineers. And at Clemson University, Ann, they teach something called ceramics engineering. I've never seen it taught anywhere else. I'm like, really? Engineering on ceramics? Yeah. You look up at all those power lines, all those little white little things around the wires, that's ceramic. It has to withstand vibration, heat, all this stuff. In any case, Bill, Socrates' brother Bill lives in Clemson, by the way. He went to school there and stayed there. He's investing now. But in any case, what I'm getting at, engineers, teachers make great investors. They love flipping. Teachers love flipping. They'll do rentals too. Another group we call first responders, which is firemen and policemen, generally firemen, policemen. I never had an EMT, but I definitely had firemen and policemen. Military, make great investors, okay? Let's see, what else? Oh, pilots. Pilots make great investors. They're crazy. They're like cowboys. Pilots are, they're a different breed. They're like modern day cowboys. I think that's probably, chiropractors. Chiropractors was another group. But I would say if you focus on one of those groups, actually, let's show of hands here. Do you feel like you have a connection with at least one person in one of those groups? You know a teacher, you know an engineer. I tell you what, just have a conversation. Go to the website, go to the marketing campaigns, grab the booklet campaign, and do the booklet campaign for electrical engineers or dentists or teachers. Make sure it's specific to a specific group, okay? And then target that group. And then you can start a workshop, right? For engineers who invest or teachers who invest or dentists who invest, start a local group, right? Just focus on that one niche. And I know you're thinking, well, why would I eliminate everybody else? And I know that that's what it sounds like, but it's just to get you started. Build your reputation with one group of people that are tribal. We're all tribal, right? Engineers talk to engineers, teachers talk to teachers. Get it going that way and make sure it's something you're connected to. Your spouse is a teacher, maybe you're used to be a teacher. Pick something that you already can speak the language with. Start there, get some business going, and then you can expand to the rest of the community. Does that make sense, guys? Okay, so booklet is like a financial planner's booklet, but instead of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds, you have duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. That's how you think of a booklet. Workshop means you're in person with people, and there's no better way to build rapport than to sidle up next to them and shake their hand, pat their back, and talk to them about their kids and their dogs and what are their dreams for retirement. Okay. You can do a lot of stuff online, but I'm telling you, there's no better way to get business than be in front of people in person. And I know we got this pandemic going on. I get it. And I have two sides. Like my one side of the family is completely on the left. The other side is completely on the right. My theory is this: I don't care if that virus came from a lab, a bat, or a fish. The fact is, it's here and it's real. Well, let's let the politics fight all that other crap. My thing is, I don't want to take chances with my family. I got a daughter who can't get the virus. She's getting treatment right now. My dad has a chronic bronchial problem. So what I'm getting at here is be sensitive to the fact that some people want a mask, some people don't want a mask. Just why take a chance? Just wear a mask. And if you're in a group and everybody says you don't need a mask, then take it off. But if half the people say I want a mask, wear a mask. Don't get political with them. Just serve them, right? So that'll go away eventually. By the way, we'll be back to normal and everything's going to be fine. But right now, though, we have to do what we have to do to conduct business. That means we got to serve people so we can earn commissions. Okay. It's 1:45. I do have to do something else. I'm meeting my tax accountant at 1 o'clock. Oh, here's some good news for you. The reason I'm meeting my tax accountant is there's something called employee retention credit. So if any of you have an S Corp, and I recommend you do, and you're an employee of the S Corp, you may be able to get an employee retention credit for yourself. If you have multiple employees like I do, I've got my production team, then I've got an operations team that's non-licensed, they're all W-2 employees. We get to do what's called a employee retention credit. You can go back to the first quarter of 2020, and in any quarter in 2020, or sorry, if they made more than 10,000 in 2020, you can claim that as a credit. And not just against your next tax return, the IRS will send you a check for the credit. In 2021, it's up to $7,000 per quarter per employee, as long as they made, up to $10,000. So it turns out we're going to qualify for 7 quarters. I got 5 employees. I think I'm going to go invest in something. What do you think? So in any case, keep that in mind. But back to this, I'm going to give you one thing we call the question of all questions that you can use when you're getting somebody close to working with you. They're ready to convert. Here's the question. If they're like hesitating, or I'm not really ready now, or whatever, ask them this question. Say, if you and I were having this conversation 1 year from today, what would you want to see, or what would you like to see to consider this year a successful year? That's the question. If you and I were having this conversation 1 year from today, what would you like to see to consider that year a successful year? And then zip up your lips and let them talk. They will tell you exactly everything you need to know to get them to do business with you. They'll say, I'd like to have some passive income from some rentals, or I want to, invest in the stock market, I want to retire. All those things you can always tie back to creating wealth and income. In my mind, creating wealth and income with real estate is far easier than the stock market. I've done both. I still do both, by the way. But the stock market is nerve-wracking, because you come home at the end of the day, the market goes down 500 points. It's already done. You can't do anything about it. You come home at the end of the day and a water tank blows, you just call the plumber. You get a new water tank. If a tenant leaves, you get a new tenant. Real estate is far more forgiving than the stock market ever will be. So in any case, when they give you their picture, their image, or their vision of what they want in the next year, listen to them, because I guarantee you'll have 1, if not 2 or 3 opportunities to step in and serve them. This makes sense, guys? The greatest question I ever heard, and I use it on a regular basis, even today. So, okay.
Thank you, man, for that. Let me open up, man, before you go. I know we want to definitely be respectful of your time. Just kind of see if anybody have any questions. I see Leon got his hands up. Anybody want to, Leon, you want to go ahead with your question?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Gary. I'm out here eating for lunch, but I'm listening to this. You're doing very good, man. I appreciate it and everything that you're sharing. So we saw Zillow left out the market, right? They stopped buying homes. What do you think the hedge fund or these types of iBuyers, types of companies that we deal with came into the small guy space, the little to small guy space? How do you think they will have an effect on the market when we go into this inflationary period with a reduction in inventory and later a possibility of increase in inventory?
Yeah. So I'm having a hard time hearing, but it sounds like the question is the market shifts, the hedge funds are going to come back in, and all the big players gobbling up big tracts of properties? Is that, and what does that mean to us? Is that sort of the question?
Well, not just what it means to us, but also to the investor that would be competing against them when we're talking about the price of money right now, the movement of money.
Yep. So a couple things. Obviously, with inflation, the cost of borrowing goes up. Remember, money is a commodity, just like a car and a house and a pork roast at the grocery store. Money is a commodity that gets bought and sold and traded every day, just like anything else. You can borrow it, you can lend it. So it's going to go up. The Fed has already told us in March they're going to raise rates. Okay. Now, that may sound scary, but the reality is if you keep things in perspective, interest rates today are low as they've been since the 1960s. Like when I first got started investing, interest rates were 16 and 18%. If they go to 8%, I'm still happy. The reality is it's one factor in the decision process of making an investment. It's only one factor. And what you do is, when you do your analysis, you have to account for the cost of the money in your analysis. And if the deal is still a deal, whether you're paying 4% or 8%, that's secondary. The primary focus is it still a deal? So at the grassroots level, we always do the analysis, and we have to account for everything: new furnaces, new roofs, and the cost of borrowing money. Okay. Now, I'm going to give you a little tip here. There's been a big push the last couple of years for more people to get life insurance policies with a cash value. Whole life, universal life, there's a number of products out there. We're actually building a hub. On my team, we're building a hub, a website where investors can input their properties if they want to flip or buy and rent or whatever, where they need money, and say, here's my project. Another portal is these cash value holders, these people with life insurance policies with cash value, and they can look at all the projects and say, I want to invest in this one, I'll invest that one completely, I'll partially invest in that one. It's not in production yet, but we're working with a company right now where we're doing some beta tests on that. So the life insurance policyholder, instead of them earning 4%, now they can earn 8% or 10%. So that's one of our solutions to the oncoming dilemma. The bigger dilemma is this. Banks have already made this statement in the last couple of weeks. They're going to say something like, we're going to modify our pro forma to reduce risk. That's the banker's way of saying, we're going to tighten lending requirements, so it's going to be harder to borrow money. That's what's going to happen, okay? So if you have clients who don't have the best credit and things like that, this life insurance alternative or life insurance opportunity, the hub, may be an alternative for them. My recommendation is this: when I work with investors that they just don't have the cash, they don't have a lot of income, I tell them and say, look, why don't you get your license? Get your license, work with investors, earn some commissions, so there's some cash flow right there. Be in the game, be in the business, learn everything about it while you're serving other people, earning a commission. And the reality is, eventually you'll be able to buy it. So you can now got your investor hat. You can use it for your buying your own investments. If that doesn't work, put on your agent hat, at least earn a commission doing it. That's one of the best solutions because it's cheap. It's easy to get a license. And when you borrow hard money, guys, I'm going to tell you, I did it before. It's called hard for a reason, right? It's not just because it's more expensive, 12, 15%. They're charging you points, sometimes 4, 5, 6, 8, 10 points. It's insane. And then if something goes wrong, they don't care if you're Mother Teresa or Gandhi. They're going to come take your house. And then you're really in a pickle, So I started preaching to everybody, do not do hard money loans. Do not do it. Get the license. Roll up your sleeves and get to work and dig yourself out. Because if you allow other people to dig you out, you got maybe a 10% chance to succeed. Who here has known investors who try to make a business out of hard money loans only to eventually give up? Because it's hard. And they'll start shutting you down too, by the way, But the other part of this, Leon, is this. In the last recession, as a broker, I started serving the hedge funds. They would call me up and say, we need to spend $100 million or $50 million or whatever. And they would buy these big tapes of mortgages, $100 million tapes of mortgages, and then keep some of the properties and sell off the rest, and we get all those commissions. But what I found out is it may sound scary, but it can be, because they're dealing with big banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. They're taking big chunks, all right? But the reality is the ones that they sell, they put back on the market, and they use us to do that. So there still will be inventory. But I'm going to give you the third part of this answer, which is this. Let them operate at the big level. You and I operate grassroots, on the ground, in the field, one property at a time. And we use a tool. I bought a program for my team that allows us to access property data, county data, court data for every property and every owner in the country, residential and commercial. We know how long they had the debt, who they got the debt with, how much debt they have left, how long they've owned the home, or they paid their property taxes. See, investors are guilty a lot of times of not paying property taxes. We know who they are. So Leah, what I'm getting at is we approach them based on the data we have long before the banks ever get wind of it. That's the kind of stuff you got to do, man. You got to be like like a Navy SEAL. You got to be first in, you got to get the data and use it and just be aggressive. And that's what we did. We never skipped a beat. The last recession, our business, we grew sixfold, and it wasn't because of the hedge funds. It was individuals like us serving individual investors doing grassroots level stuff. That's what it takes. So,
What's
if
the name
anything,
of that tool? What's the name of that tool to gather the data?
well, there's a bunch of them. There's Reonomy, Revo Gateway, Remind, FreedomSoft. Let's see, what are some of the others that I've seen? We use one called Lead Pipes, and I bought it. So the reason I like it is everybody can get probate, bankruptcy, foreclosure information, but I can also get tax record information and stuff like that. If you guys want to, my team is open. It's called an open team. It's a production team, but it's open, meaning that other people in EXP, I mean, every day I've got 3 people today in different downlines that want to join my team, and we allow that. The benefit is Leon, you don't have to pay for any of that stuff. There's no cost. We've paid for it. The team pays for all that, and then you get either somewhere between a 5 and 25% split back to the team, depending on your level of production. So for as little as 5%, you may be able to be on a production team that gives you all those goodies. It doesn't change your downline. You're still on somebody else's downline. I don't get anything out of that, but I will teach you, and that's what we do. So after about 8 or 10 transactions, that split goes away. By the way, it goes away permanently. That does not reset like a cap. It's a one-time split. It's just enough to pay for the material and my time and stuff like that. But do something like that. Don't go out and spend thousands of dollars, if you don't have to. Learn with a group of people already in EXP doing the same exact thing that we want to do, and network with them. You could be in Charlotte, North Carolina. You could be in Greenville. Actually, Leon, where are you?
Gary, so I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and I use PropStream already. Can you hear me?
No, barely. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm running PropStream to do mine. I'm running PropStream to do mine. And I've been fortunate, unlike some other agents, I've been fortunate where I've actually built a fund which gives me access to a couple $1 million to do my flips and do my projects. But on the other note, you deal with investors that are looking for hard money loans with the inflation that's taking place. Where do you see the rates going for the hard money loan side?
They're easily, those guys, believe me, they're in business to make money. So they're going to take full advantage of the news. They're going to go right up to 12% initially. Then they go right to, I know people already charging 15%. The news out there, guys, is yours and I. The news is our best friend. All we do is we approach investors that own properties more than 10 years and say, it's pretty obvious we're at the top of this market. If you're even thinking about selling, you may want to consider selling now, because if you wait, it could be another 10-year cycle. And do you have 10 more years to wait to sell your property? Not only that, what do you think is going to happen to capital gains taxes? Right? Capital gains is going to go up. It's going to cost. So your value of your property could drop, and you could pay more in property taxes. Now, Leon, when I speak to people, I call them way down. I go down to their level, and I'm not I get excited with this stuff. That's why I'm so pumped up. But when I'm speaking to consumers, we got to really tone it down and give them facts and information. And those are real hardcore facts that they can't dispute because it's all over the news. So that's what we use. I know if I have investors that just don't have it, I put them on the back seat of the bus and tell them, I'll help you, but we got to build up your credit. We got to get some cash flow coming in. We got to at least get your credit score up in the 600s. And we have people that do that I don't do that myself personally. I don't turn my back on anybody. I just know that my personal time, I owe it to my family and my agents on my team to only work with people that are readily willing, able now. Right? I have a moral obligation to you and to my family to do that. And everybody else, I'll serve, but they got to roll up their sleeves and get busy and work with me. I can't. It's a two-way street. And one of the ways they can do that is get their license and learn it from the blue collar way. Then they don't have to worry about that hard money stuff. And I've seen disaster stories from people using hard money, losing everything. It's crazy. So it does work though. I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's just the upside potential does not justify the downside risk in more cases with hard money. The downside risk is too great. Now if you got nothing, then you got nothing to lose. But no hard money lender is going to loan you money either. So that's why I think investors getting their license is one of the smartest things they can do, especially if they need a leg up on the situation. So yeah.
But
Hey
Gary,
guys,
man,
listen.
I know you gotta bounce, man. So hey, man, we definitely appreciate it, man, for your information and your knowledge and kind of sharing with the group, man. So
Yeah.
Hey, Gary, do you have a website that people can go check out some of the things that you teach and that kind of thing to get more information on on your investor groups and stuff?
If you go to it's realestatewithgarywilson.com. I know it sounds goofy, but here's what happened. We still have the old My Investment Services. We got that from one of the top 100 Google experts on the planet. He said, use My Investment Services, and it worked great for years. We did some Google Analytics. Turns out people were searching for my name more than they were searching for My Investment Services. And they said, real estate's one of the highest search terms on the internet. He said, why don't you just say real estate with Gary Wilson? I said, well, it sounds boring, but I'll do it. Smart move. So in any case, on there, on the front home page, there's 6 books you can get. They're all the little teasers. Those are consumer teasers. You can grab them if you want. They're about 5 or 10 pages long. Right below there's a little link that says, if you want to learn about the GIA team, click here, and you and I will have a call. We'll have a strategy call. Now, up on top is the link that says members area. You can click on that, go to the members area page. On the right-hand side is where you can get in for free for 30 days. That's where you can grab a lot of this material. And I mean, it's totally free, so those are the 2 ways. One way to get a hold of me, and it goes directly to me, that email, and the other one is to get some free information. But if you have any, who here, raise a hand if you have a desire to add the investor business to your business model. You want to build that out. Just set up a call with me, man. I mean, we're all in the same family. We're all in the same line in the same company. And even if you're not in that and you're another company, just take what I'm going to show you and use it. It just, it doesn't cost anything. You have nothing to lose. And it just might be the thing you need to get going this year, So, yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Gary. So www.realestatewithgarywilson.com, right?
That's it, man. Yep.
Thanks, buddy. We'll see you in the next one.
All right, you guys have a great day, Kay.
yeah, appreciate it. Hey, everybody, just quick reminder, this recording is going to be on the Agent Builders website. So if you want to kind of get a refresher, just jump on the Agent Builders Facebook group. If you're not part of Agent Builders, just reach out to your sponsor or somebody that invited you, and just kind of talk to them about that and make sure you can get on that. The second part, we do these every second Friday of the month, and having an agent just kind of imparting it in our group. For those that are guests, I mean, we definitely appreciate you being on here. Next meeting is going to be next month, and that is going to be on the, let me see here, what's that date? On the 11th of February, and we're gonna have the great John Kitchens is gonna be actually presenting. For you all that don't know, John actually he's the #1 coach at NAEA, National Association of Expert Advisors. He's helped agents with their business, helping them to become #1, 2, or 3 in their marketplace. Agents, one of them, Tracy Cusino is one of them in my immediate market. She was selling 40 homes a year when she first started coaching with them. She's selling, close to 600 homes now. And that's been like a little bit over 6 years for her to build that out. But he's going to be kind of sharing with everybody some of the stuff that he's been able to do with his coaching and kind of taking agents to the next level. So definitely, make sure you make that next one. But anything you want to say, Andre, to kind of close us out, buddy?
Just thank you guys for jumping on and connecting with us today. Gary, check out Gary's website. He's got a lot of free material out there for books on investing, and let's keep working together and and making real estate fun again.
Making it fun, man. Love it.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Andre.
No problem, David, man. Hey, good to see you too, buddy, man.
I know.
You gonna be in Cabo?
Absolutely.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna see you down there. All right. Well, with that being said, everybody knows the trainings that we do during the week, and until the next time, let's make it great and come with some better, some more testimonies from the stuff that we're doing. So, if you was once again, if you was an invite, thank you for coming. Reach out to the person that invited you and just kind of talk to them about what it looks like to partner with us and some of the stuff that we're doing. We're really taking it to the next level for real estate agents. And
another real quick update, every Wednesday, 11 o'clock Eastern time, we have a agent attractions training for anyone that looking to build their teams. That's Wednesday at 11 o'clock Eastern. And then every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern, we have our agent production call. It's all about production and selling more houses. And we always have top leaders on that call. So jump in Wednesdays at 11 Eastern and Thursdays 12 Eastern. And if you don't have those links, just ask your sponsor, and we'll get them to you.
Yeah, and you forgot, like Tuesday, Mona does her KV Core, which is CRM lead generation system training. So that's at 10 o'clock as well Eastern. So, all right. Well, with that being said, everybody have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see y'all next week.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Thanks,
Bye,
James.
all.
Thanks, Andre.